see. Just like that, I think we're streaming. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew, and this is the Ugly Review for Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. It is 6:06 a.m. Central Standard Time. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're having a wonderful week. How are you doing? I'm doing quite well. Actually, hold on a second. Let me open this window real quick. Get a little breeze of fresh air in here. There we go. Excuse me. Excuse me. Good morning. How are you? Excuse me. Very sorry. I'm doing well. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day outside. It was nice and rainy yesterday. April showers will bring those May flowers. And it just reminded me that my birthday is next month, and I'm going to be turning 40. Goody, goody gumdrops. I don't feel any different. Feel a little dumber, but whatever. So we're gonna jump in. I was just perusing Twitter this morning, looking for some information on some of the stories we'll be talking about, and I just saw this. Laughter, the new symbol of the far right. But this is listed at May 14th. So I think this is something that came from quite a while ago. And apparently, oh, God, look at this. My fucking screen looks like crap. Screw it. Just screw it. We know they're godless, soulless, humorless weirdos. I don't know. It just caught my attention, so I thought I'd throw it out there. But that's not where we're going to start today. Actually, why would I even say that? We did. We should start every day with our... God, my screen is a fucking mess. I apologize. With Disney stock prices, right? I know the screen looks like shit. I'm sorry. But the Disney stock price as of yesterday, close yesterday, 3:01 p.m. Central Standard Time, when the bell rung at April 23rd, was at $113.71. And if we go back and check just before their meeting earlier this month, April 2nd, so this is before the shareholders meeting, the shareholders call. The stock was at $122, and I think it actually made it up to $123. Yeah, there it is right there, 123.1, $123. And then the meeting happened, and we've gone all the way down to $113. So they lost $10 in stock. And this just came out. Look at this screen. I'm so sorry. This was released recently, and we're going to get into it a little bit, but look at the percentage share of streaming here, right? So if we go back to February of 23, Disney Plus is at 1.8% share of the streaming market. Tubi is at 1%. As of September 23rd, Disney Plus, they increased by 0.1%, okay? Tubi went up to 1.3, so they're catching up to Disney. February of this year, per the Nielsen rating system, Tubi is just behind Disney Plus for a share of the streaming market, 1.7% compared to Disney Plus's 1.9%. Did some of you even know that Tubi was a company that even existed? I'm sure you did. If you got your Roku, you're clicking around and you see Tubi and you're like, what the fuck is that? I've watched a little bit of Tubi before. They do basically, I think, a lot of like old movies and programming stuff with advertisements. And people want that, right? It's cheap. I don't know if Tubi's free or not. I think it might be. But... Just to compare that Disney Plus is about to be overtaken by Tubi. And we're going to talk about it. What am I going to do here? Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to align my screen. It looks like shit. That's probably the best we're going to do right now, maybe. Hold on. Let me do this. Okay. That'll work for now. That'll work for now. So this is at thatparkplace.com. Disney Plus is nearly beaten in ratings by Tubi, according to Nielsen, and now Bob Iger must prevent another loss. Oh, Bob, it's just getting worse for old Bobby boy. Just getting worse for old Bobby boy. Disney Plus is facing, this is April 23rd, WDW Pro. Disney Plus is facing a competitor that they almost certainly were not originally expecting. With Netflix escaping Disney's ability to catch up in any foreseeable future, now they're fending off smaller competitors that were once seen as irrelevant. A source over the weekend has informed me that Disney has been running a prototype of what may add as a new feature to Disney Plus in the next few months. Apparently, it all comes down to a great fear of Tubi. Now, I know it's hard to believe that Disney might be afraid of Tubi, but that's only because Tubi isn't well known yet, but it will be if left unchecked. The free streaming platform that uses licensed, so it is free, that uses licensed content and ad-based revenue cost Fox Corp only a measly $440 million to get up and running. That's the same company that sold Disney their portion of Hulu for billions and billions of dollars. So Fox Corporation started Tubi Streaming, which uses a bunch of old stuff, a bunch of old entertainment, old IPs, and advertisements, spent less than $500 million. And they are practically the same in the streaming market share as Disney Plus, who we all know spends billions and billions and billions of dollars. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Disney, when they bought Fox Studios, to acquire the rights for, say, like X-Men and whatnot, when they purchased Fox Studios, I think they spent something like $70 billion. Like $70 billion. Hold on a second. I got to do something real quick. Sorry. My door popped open real quick. People are sleeping and the door popped open. Excuse me. So, $440 million, and they're about to pass Disney Plus. Now Tubi is right on the heels of passing Disney Plus in terms of viewer engagement. Given that Tubi is funded via ads, it's the only number that matters. It also means that Tubi is already likely profitable, whereas Disney Plus is about $30 billion in the hole with no end in sight. Take a look at how close Tubi already is in taking the lead over Disney Plus. And there it is. Now, this is March, so this is even... I showed you the February numbers just a second ago, and this is March. Disney Plus, the share of streaming is 1.7%, and Tubi is at 1.6%. Dude, unbelievable. For Disney, losing to Tubi would be a deal breaker for shareholders. Can you imagine being a shareholder right now? You just had the meeting, the vote, all of that hullabaloo, and now you see this. Can you imagine? You better get out. I have this Moo trading app. I have not traded anything on it. I just got it to kind of look at it and peruse it and see if I'd be interested in it, and I'm not really. But they have this kind of this social media aspect to it where you can click on different trades, different stocks and everything, and people can have like a blog post of chatting about the particular stock. And there's several people on there saying, okay, it's time to get rid of Disney stock. And there were dozens of people saying, yeah, get rid of it. It's going to go, it's going to go past 200 again, or 200 for the first time, because it hasn't gone past 200. I don't think it's gone past 200 in its lifetime. But people are like, yeah, I'll take it. It's a great stock to hold. Good luck. Might want to get out. So it can't be allowed to happen. Tubi taking over, yes. And Disney has been watching Tubi rise in ratings over the last year at an alarming rate. So a plan was allegedly devised. According to this source, Disney used their ABC app with a tiny subscriber base to test out how a 24/7 live channel service would work with their customers. Some of these channels have included 2020, ABC News Live, Cesar Millan, Better Human, Better Dog, ESPN 8, The Ocho, General Hospital, and more. Wait, channels like just streaming channels for like General Hospital? Is that what they're talking about? Yeah, with each channel, it's nonstop 24/7 play of these topics interspersed with ads, but you can't choose your episodes at all. They just play continuously. Well, then what's the point? In other words, it's highly specific cable channel 2.0. Yeah, it's just linear television that's retarded. The problem Disney is facing with Disney Plus is they have to stop Tubi, and that potentially means integrating a completely different business model than they currently have. That's murky, but the ABC app model may be the only option they have. Disney also has the issue of struggling with 24/7 catalogs that aren't damaged. Using their Star Wars live-action shows as a channel, for example, isn't likely to drive any significant ratings. Allegedly, Disney may be looking at a Marvel channel instead that plays nothing but MCU movies. That would get old real fast. Why? Wait a minute. Why would I pay for that if I could just buy, if I could pay the, $2.99, for Disney Plus? And choose whatever MCU movie I want to watch at any time. I mean, I'm not going to. I'm not going to give Disney any of my money. But what's the point? I guess maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know. But it sounds pretty fucking stupid. Well, where'd that go? Jesus. They may also be looking at an 80s, 90s Disney Toons channel, a Nat Geo channel, and more. So they're basically just going to take all of their properties that they have bought and make individual channels. So like if you wanted just an MCU channel, you could pay, I don't know, like $1.99 a month. You want just the National Geographic, another $1.99 or 99 cents a month or whatever the hell. And it's just that on loop. But you can't even choose what you want to watch. It just does that on loop. People aren't going to do that. People aren't going to do that. That's why people love YouTube so much. People have gotten used to ads on YouTube, and you can watch whatever you want. You know, you go through like a 5 or 10 second ad every now and then. People don't mind. People don't care. People are used to it, and it sounds like that's a lot like what Tubi is. You can select your channel. Select your movie, select your show, your episode, or whatnot. You just got to deal with some advertisements, and it's not current content. And people are okay with that because the current content really sucks. Boy, man. I think they're in a world of shit. But really, the source says, Disney is now hoping to use Hulu content to generate views on Disney Plus via these 24/7 channel options. Futurama is almost certain to join The Simpsons. Family Guy is almost certain to be there, along with King of the Hill. And frankly, I have to say that this would be the very best play Disney has for catching up with ratings. What's so amazing about this source's allegations they would definitely explain why Disney needed to integrate Hulu into Disney Plus so quickly, even before they finished paying the total fee for purchasing the streaming service. It may be that Hulu's Fox cartoons are what Disney needs for Cable 2.0 option that just might stave off Tubi and other free streaming services. I don't think it will. I think they'll get some people to pay for this, but it won't be nearly enough. Why? If Tubi is advancing that much and Disney is collapsing this much in such a short amount of time, no, it's not going to be enough to fight it off. Absolutely not. They'll be passed. They'll get passed by the end of this summer. After all, Disney Plus is currently behind YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, and often Amazon Prime Video for streaming ratings. Dropping below a host of free streaming services is a pitfall too great for Bob Iger. There's no guarantee this will stop it from happening, but it is likely their best option. Okay. And remember, Bob Iger, They have thrown effusive praise on themselves for making Disney Plus the biggest, greatest, most wonderful, magical streaming service ever. They've lied about the numbers time and time and time again. It's fucking crap. So, speaking of Disney, they had a trailer come out. Well, MCU had a trailer come out. A new one for Deadpool Wolverine. So let's watch that. Let's watch the trailer. Oh, let's see. Does that get everything in it? No, it's... I'm going to have to figure this out. Somebody help me. Let's just watch it. Fuck it.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
Kind of funny.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy.
Here we go.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider.
Okay, so right off the bat, it's nice to see that they're just going whole hog, rated R, just running with it, just going with it. That's good. A little surprising since it is a Disney movie, but okay. All right, fair enough. There's the suit we've all been waiting for. It looks pretty good, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a comic expert, a comic nerd, or anything like that. But I did love the X-Men 92 animated series and all of those X-Men video games from Capcom that came after. This looks pretty good, in my opinion. And, of course, they got the hair going and everything. I wonder if we'll see the mask.
I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
So, I think... I don't know. I think these two are going to play off of each other really, really well. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to pause it several times just because of the music, I think. Dude, he's freaking jacked, man. This is a really good Wolverine look.
I don't know any.
Notice the gloves. See that? This is a really good look. This looks pretty good, in my opinion.
Think about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were
good.
X-Man. You were the X-Man. I am soaking wet right now.
Looks cool. Sounds cool. Nice and bloody and violent. Okay, so I'm not sure who this bad guy is. I'm not sure who this bad guy is, but they're walking out of a big skull. Walking out of a big skull. And there's some kind of hot rod vehicle over here. The fight between them looked really good. That looked very well choreographed.
Boys are so silly.
This is what I'm talking about.
So big Ant-Man head. Looks like Ant-Man to me. Sure looks like Ant-Man to me. And supposedly this is going to be the bad guy's hideout, so that makes sense. You know, she's walking out of the skull. Here's the giant head and the stair platform and everything like that. So there's that.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence.
So this
Big slow motion action sequence.
This right here almost looks like Mad Max. I don't know how this plays into the MCU or the Marvel Comics or anything, but it looks like Mad Max. Was Mad Max a 20th Century Fox production? I'll have to look that up.
Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Doctor Strange portal here. And it looks like they're in the lair, because like here's a giant hand right here, so it looks like they're probably like jumping out of the skull mouth or something, or maybe out of the eyes or something, I don't know. But Doctor Strange portal. Huh.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even force bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes. But I can't.
Okay. Okay. I think it has a chance. I think this has a chance to be good. From what I know, Ryan Reynolds was given almost like carte blanche to do just make it. He's one of the writers on the film. One of the and the other guy. Who's the other guy? So Deadpool, Wolverine writers. It was Ryan Reynolds and I just missed it. So written by Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Sean Levy, Paul Wernick, and Zeb Wells. What did these other guys work on? Rhett Reese worked on Clifford's Really Big Movie, Cruel Intentions 3, Zombieland, G.I. Joe Retaliation, and Life. And then he worked on Deadpool and Deadpool 2. Paul Wernick, Zombieland, the Deadpool movies. Who else? Zeb Wells is an American comic book writer, screenwriter, director, and voice actor. He's known for his work at Marvel Comics. Oh, he worked on Adult Swim and Robot Chicken. And then Sean Levy, I don't know. What did he work on? Let's see. Night at the Museum and Stranger Things are some of his credits. Okay, so you've got talent here. You've got experience here. You know, they're a little burn on Kevin Feige. It looks like they're going to have plenty of cameos. Hopefully they tear the shit out of the MCU and the multiverse. That would be fantastic. Looks like they're beating the shit out of the TVA. That's fantastic. So we all want this movie to be good, right? We all want this movie to be entertaining. We want something to smile about. We want something to laugh at, and not laugh at it like Madam Web laugh at it, not like Rebel Moon 2 laugh at it. Oh my God, I can't believe that movie. Oh my God. I cannot believe Rebel Moon 2 exists. I can't believe Rebel Moon 1 exists. And we're going to get 4 or 5 more of those movies. Don't worry, I'm working on a fucking review. Jesus Christ. So there's that. I think that is fairly encouraging. We have to temper our expectations because, of course, it's still a Disney movie. It's a Disney Marvel movie. So what do you do, right? I mean, we can only go based off of their track record. The Deadpool track record is good. Deadpool 1, very good. Deadpool 2 was okay. Not as good as the first one, but good. And then, of course, since then, we all know what's happened in MCU Phase 4 and 5 and Disney's DEI initiative and everything that they've got going over there. I mean, it's extremely difficult to trust Disney. So I don't know. Definitely go see it, but I guess we'll have to, I don't know, cross our fingers. All right. So moving on. let's move on to something else that may be affected by some DEI bullshit. So if you've heard, of course, Amazon Prime Studios is working on a Warhammer show, and they're working on it with Henry Cavill. Now, Henry Cavill is a big Warhammer nerd, and he was very excited to do this. But now it appears that Amazon, because of their own studio's DEI requirements, it looks like they may be pushing to have Games Workshop, who owns Warhammer, they may be pushing them to inject some wokeness into it, and it may be pushing Henry Cavill out of the Warhammer show. So we'll get into that, and this is That Park Place again. Really great website. They do a lot of good work. I mean, not that. Don't move that. Move this. There you go. So it looks like I'm staring at Henry Cavill's loving eyes. Okay. Rumor. Games Workshop introduced female Adeptus Custodes for Amazon's upcoming Warhammer 40K series with Henry Cavill. This is April 22nd by John F. Trent. Excuse me. Let me get a little drink. Pardon me. Okay. A new rumor claims that Games Workshop introduced female Adeptus Custodes in order to pave the way for Amazon MGM Studios' upcoming Warhammer 40K series that is being helmed by Henry Cavill. The female Custodes are to be introduced in the upcoming Codex Adeptus Custodes. An excerpt from the book details Custodian Calades Tervalia Kesh stood upon the bridge of a Cobra-class destroyer. Named Vigilant Flame, the warship belonged to the mighty Battlefleet Solar. She lingered in the shadows at the back of the bridge, positioned at a spot where she could observe the actions of every crew member, be they in the instrumentation pits, at the armament shrines, or, in the case of Shipmaster Lethwick, stood ramrod straight before his command throne. Another excerpt states, Kesh was warned before anyone else on board, sensing a sudden empiric energy spike coupled with a surge of overpressure and sharp temperature drop that presaged a teleport strike. Her guardian spear was leveled and armed before the first cry of alarm or howl of a klaxon rang through the bridge. The official Warhammer social media account not only confirmed the excerpts, but gaslit hobbyists and enthusiasts, writing on X, since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians. Now I want to preface, I'm not a 40K expert. I'm not a 40K nerd. I just like pointing out all of this crap. Now, this new rumor, which comes via an anonymous poster on 4chan, claims female custodes are only going to be mentioned to the Codex. No new sculpts or characters after the fact. Social media department jumped the gun and tried to put out fires with the wrong hose. The alleged leaker adds, intent is to push female custodes character in Amazon show without it breaking lore because Amazon execs wanted a woman in power armor and wouldn't settle for Sisters of Battle. People involved in the show are pissed because they've been moving ahead on Eisenhorn. Talks of inserting said female custodes into Eisenhorn's story, with Cavill threatening to walk away from the project. Small stock drop today, but Games Workshop figures it can ride it out if it stays mum on the subject. They really need better social media employees. Cavill will be in an article due to heading on Games Workshop to work on the new series this week or next. The leaker added, if he leaves, it'll be a noticeable hit to the share price, meaning the show is dead, good ending, or Amazon is calling the shots, bad ending. Not Black Chigorians, but similar scenario. You can trust me, my dad works at Nintendo. So again, now this is an anonymous post on 4chan, so take that with a pound of salt, right? It's a rumor. It doesn't sound too crazy, does it? It sounds pretty in line. So you think about it this way. Amazon, and I have these brought up. Let me see. So remember, Amazon has these crazy DEI requirements, right? They have these insane DEI requirements. So it's not surprising that, where'd it go? It's not surprising that they would want to shove all of their DEI bullshit into the show. And in order to not piss off fans, right, they would go to Games Workshop and say, hey, you need to update the lore because all of the nerds are going to be digging through it, looking for anything that is in the show or not in the show or is in the lore or not in the lore. And they're going to call us out for it because they remember, they see what happened with Rings of Power. Right? Destroyed. What is it? Something like 70% of all people who started the show didn't finish the show. Something. And people called it out because it's awful on all fronts. It's just a terrible, no good, very bad show. And they're trying to get out in front of it. They want to be able to turn around and point at the lore and say, no, you guys are liars. You guys are full of shit. They've been there the whole time. 30 years of lore, 30 years of a million, I don't know how many millions of people play Warhammer all over the world, right? But 30 years of millions of nerds poring over countless just books, all sorts of guides and games and stories and codex and this and that for 30 years. What do you think these nerds do? They do this shit for fun, right? They study this shit for fun. They challenge each other's knowledge of this information for fun. You're not going to beat these people in a battle of knowledge regarding the lore or canon or story. It's not going to happen. You're not going. They know that. So the only thing that they have in their pocket, the only card they have to play, is change the lore. This is Marxism at its finest. Right? If history doesn't say what you want it to say, well, then just change history. Right? And then tell people, just completely gaslight them. Tell them, no, that's not happening. No, it's always been like that. I don't know what you're talking about. And this is Marxism 101. If history does not suit your end, right, just change it. Change the rules. It's the only card they have. This show is gonna die. It's already dead. Like this is a terrible, terrible, terrible start. Terrible. Yeah, if Henry Cavill leaves, you might as well just pack up shop. Might as well just close it up. If Henry Cavill leaves, that's it. No one's going to give a shit. The original poster appeared to respond to a number of other users and claimed that a number of employees at Games Workshop will be let go over the introduction of the female Adeptus Custodes. The alleged leaker stated nothing was inked when Cavill announced it, and it sent everyone at Games Workshop into a panic. Shareholders put an immediate stop to any work until the contract was hammered out, and the negotiations were brutal. If it could impact profits on the minis, Games Workshop didn't want to launch it, which is why this Custodes things was a dumpster fire. People who should have known about it didn't, and success or not, people are going to be let go. Wow, dude. Do you see all of these companies are in a mad dash, a scramble to cover up their bullshit? They thought they had no idea what they were doing when they signed up for DEI and ESG. None of them. They had no idea. They were intimidated. They were threatened. They were blackmailed. They were promised a bunch of cheap money. And now they're all dying. And of course, because big corporations, any corporation, can never admit that they're wrong. They will never, ever, ever admit that they are wrong. Ever. They would rather die than come out and say, you know what, this DEI shit's wrong. We screwed up. We're going to stop doing this. We're going to go back to what made us millions of dollars, what made us extremely successful. We're sorry. We'll go back to doing things the way we did. We didn't know what we were signing up for. We screwed up. Please accept our apology. We're going to give everyone a 20% discount on figures for the next 6 months. You know, some shit like that. That's good. Do that. They never will. Not in a million years. They would rather die. And the executives will do it. Why? Because the executives will still get their bonuses. The executives will still get their golden parachutes. They'll get their bailouts. If they're the ones calling the shots and you say, well, the company may go down in flames, but you're still going to get $20 million. Oh, well, let it burn. They don't care. You know, and it's been made fairly common knowledge recently. I don't have the article pulled up, but I mentioned it on the Sunday show. I believe it was the Sunday show, that it's been revealed that, you know, BlackRock is just basically bribing all of these executives to force this DEI ESG shit into the companies, right? Hey, if you meet this DEI quota, $500,000, right? Meet this ESG requirement, $500,000. Yeah. I mean, it's not that surprising, though, is it? It's not. I don't think it's that surprising. Oh, let's see where we at. They do with the show Amazon. The original poster appeared to respond to a number of other users and claimed that a number of employees at Games Workshop. I already read that. The leaker also made it clear the move to include female Adeptus Custodes has everything to do with the show, and that Amazon did not want Sisters of Silence because they don't speak, and that the Sisters of Battle are apparently too religious, and Amazon thinks it'll be a turnoff. You know what? This has the opportunity to be a badass show if you just let Henry Cavill take the lore and do what he needs to do with it. You give J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay $1 billion to take a dump on a studio floor and tell everyone that it's the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread. Give Henry Cavill like $400 million and just get out of the way. It could be a badass show. Let it be mature. Let it be adult, right? Let him go all Game of Thrones with Warhammer. Just let him do it. It could be amazing. They don't care. They don't care. Larry Fink gave them too much money. Larry Fink has bribed too many people. They don't care. Furthermore, the leaker stated, the female Inquisitor in power armor was the last hope, but Amazon wants to be able to take the character out of the armor and still have them to be powerful. It's all been a massive headache. I mean, yeah, again, this is a 4chan rumor mill, but does any of this sound too far off? It doesn't, not to me. The leaker also added in another post some details about a female Custodes being introduced into Amazon's alleged adaptation of Eisenhorn. It was going to happen during the scene where Eisenhorn gets debriefed by the Space Marines. A very quick reveal, maybe 1 or 2 lines, and then never mentioned again. The story is going to be told in a past tense recollection format, so they could have the scene happen at the start of the story. It was going to be big progressivism smash hit to generate press. That's why it's only going to be in the codex, so when it happened, they could say it's lore accurate. It was in official publications when said press happened. There it is. That's why they want to do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Amazon demanded more representation for this Warhammer 40K project. Of course they did. Absolutely they did. Look at their... Here's some of the requirements, right? Here's some of the requirements. So this is back in 21 about their DEI. You know, each film or series with a creative team of 3 or more people in the above line roles, directors, writers, producers, should ideally include a minimum of 30% women and 30% members of underrepresented racial ethnic group. This aspirational goal will increase to 50% by 2024. Casting actors whose identity, gender, race, sexual orientation aligns with the character they will be playing. Aiming to include 1 character from each of the following categories and speaking roles with a minimum of 50% of these to be women, LGBTQIA+, person with a disability, and 3 regionally underrepresented race, ethnic, cultural groups, a single character can fulfill one or more of these identities. Jesus Christ. Seeking at least 3 bids from vendors or suppliers on productions, one of which must be from a woman-owned business and one from a minority-owned business. So not only do your actors, your producers, your writers, your directors, your key grips, your janitors all have to be diverse, lesbian women of color or trans things. You, all of the businesses that you bring in to help you with the production, 50% of them, it sounds like 50% of them, well, at least 3 bids. You have to get at least 3 bids from a business owned by a woman, a business owned by a person of color, a business owned by a trans person, blah, 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 all this crap. Pay equity across casting, behind the camera staff and crew, and for vendors and suppliers. Pay equity. So what happens? Let's say Henry Cavill decides to put himself in the Warhammer show, right? Let's say he's in the show, and he's one of the main characters. And then you've got Bob Bobbington, who came from, I don't know, Cleveland, right? And he's like 22 years old, and maybe this is only like his second job or something like that, and he's fine and everything, but he's just kind of a secondary character. Is he going to get paid as much as Henry Cavill? Really? Really? You think that's going to fly? I don't. Bob Bobbington is not going to make as much as Henry Cavill. Amazon Studios will provide a report template for each production to indicate whether these expectations were met. That will be submitted within 1 month of the completion of principal photography. This reporting exceeds the minimum standards set by the Academy, but ensures Amazon is poised to report on the diversity of their films for Academy Award contention. Wait. Did I miss something there? No. And this says, and the disability rights. Okay. Frankly, the outcomes of DEI work within the entertainment industry have not been swift or sweeping. In part, that can be attributed to disingenuous approaches to address the systemic barriers to entry that have long plagued Hollywood, said Smith. But now, Amazon Studios has created a comprehensive new blueprint that will change Hollywood by elevating those who have historically lacked access. I'm immensely proud of this new policy, and I know it will be a game changer throughout an industry often resistant to real change. Well, you've changed, and people fucking hate it. Of course, it's not out of the realm of possibility. They're telling you they're going to do this. They've told us they're going to do this through their own standards and practices. Jesus. It's not okay, let's just start over on this paragraph. I think this is where I left off. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Amazon demanded more representation for this Warhammer 40K project. And we just went over why it's not out of the realm of possibility. They're actually going to force it. Amazon announced their inclusion in policy playbook, and we just read that back in 2021 with a press release stating these guides offer detailed and actionable recommendations as Amazon Studios continues to seek out stories and storytelling that amplify voices across race, ethnicity, nationality, sexual orientation, age, religion, disability, including mental health, body size, gender identity, and gender expression for the global Prime Video audience. My fucking God. Here's how it should go. We're going to have auditions. And if you're good, you'll get a job. And if not, better luck next time. Have a nice day. That's it. That's fair for everyone. Right? If you're good, you get a job. If not, go do something else. What was I gonna... Oh, I love the disability, including mental health one, the neurodivergent one. It reminds me of how Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, came out with their new requirements for hiring air traffic controllers, right? Where they have to hire like mentally disabled midgets and stuff. I'm not kidding. That's a real thing. You can look it up if you don't believe me. Go for it. The company's executive head of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Amazon Studios, Latasha Gillespie, explained their purpose at the time. Amazon Studios has long prioritized telling innovative and inclusive stories from a diverse range of creative talent. delighting our global audiences. Yes, because Rings of Power delights people. We wanted to move beyond good intentions to creating mechanisms that hold us accountable to a high bar. Well, it might hold you accountable to what you believe a high bar of diversity and inclusion and equity and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't hold you to a high bar of success, standards, talent, and creativity. That bar seems to be non-existent. You don't even have to step over it. You can just kind of fall down and roll over it, considering you're all fat. We wanted to move beyond good intentions to creating mechanisms that hold us accountable to a high bar. This inclusion policy and inclusion playbook adds important additional depth and guidance for our internal teams and external partners to ensure we continue to advance our shared mission of amplifying the best creatives and content around the world. No, it isn't. No, it's not. You've by your own admission, you're not doing that. You are not prioritizing. You're not amplifying the best creatives and content. You're just amplifying people of color or gay people or women or whatever it may be, right? People that you have determined are underrepresented. That's your priority. That's what you're amplifying. If it was the best creatives, you wouldn't have any of those requirements. You would throw those requirements, those DEI requirements, right out the window and say, screw this, we're going to hire the best people for the job. That will give us the best opportunity to have wonderful creative entertainment that everyone around the globe will enjoy. That's what you want, right? No, it's not. You're lying. You're lying. Head of Amazon Studios, Jennifer Salke, also stated, with the establishment of our inclusion policy and inclusion playbook, Amazon Studios has committed itself to being a thought and action leader in the transformation of our industry. She added, we know how much work there is to be done to improve representation both on camera and behind the scenes, and it starts at home, with us, with clear directives and a commitment to accountability. These guys provide a path toward a more equitable future, both on and off camera. I wonder if they will, if they want to make a change at home, they should all open their doors to the illegal alien Venezuelan prisoners. They can make a difference at home if they let all of the Venezuelan prisoners into their homes, right? I'm sure they have plenty of room. Let's see. As part of the press release, Amazon Studios made it clear what their goals were with the policy and playbook. Okay, we went over all this. In fact, the company noted that they would be grading each production based on their policy and the playbook, and we went over that as well. And, okay, yeah, we went over all that. So, specifically discussing the playbook, the press release stated, the inclusion playbook puts in place intentional practices to minimize and disrupt biases, providing specific guidance that will help everyone within and working with Amazon Studios to meet the expectations set in the inclusion policy. If you were, like, why did creative people, well, I think I'm answering my own question. I would say, why would creative people ever try to work with Amazon Studios? And the answer is they don't. Right? Because everything they do, like, they have maybe like one or two good shows. And one of the good shows they had, Reacher, for some reason, their lead actor, their star, is calling out his audience. Yeah, I don't know why that motherfucker opened his mouth about politics. Jesus Christ. Where did I go here? It added, the playbook provides direction on how to make inclusive decisions while telling authentic stories and hiring the best people for the job, knowledge of where to go for help, including tools to make inclusive decisions, tools to identify criteria for making creative choices, leading to balanced... Hold on, let me read this again. While telling authentic stories and hiring the best people for the job. Wait a minute. So what's your standard, right? Is it the best person for the job? Or is it a person of color? Is it the best person? These two things can be the same, but the best person for the job is probably not always going to be a minority. It's probably not always going to be a woman. It's not always going to be a gay person, right? And vice versa. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes it will be a person. Sometimes it will. Sometimes. Not all the time. And probably not 50% of the time, if I had to guess. If you really wanted the best person for the job, then get these requirements out of here and just open it up for applications, right? Open it up for auditions and whatnot, and just take the person who's best for the job. Apparently, you're not doing that. We all know you're not doing that. Look at Rings of Power. This is a nightmare. Oh, geez. Tools will identify criteria for making creative choices, leading to balanced, consistent, and informed decisions, and ways to foster curiosity and ask questions to disrupt the status quo about how things are done. Well, pretty soon, the status quo is just going to be, it's always half women, it's always half black, and it's always half gay, and it's always... So do we question that? No, you can't question that. That makes you a bigot, right? They can question everything. You can question nothing because you're a bigot. All right, this goes on and on and on, but we get it, right? We get it. I mean, jeez, look at this. Do we want to go through all this? Let me see if I want to go through all this because I can't go 2 or 3 hours today. I want to see, let's see. Yeah, screw it. Let's finish this up. We'll finish going through this, okay? Let me go to the restroom. I'll come back and we'll finish this up. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's get back into it. There's a lot going on here. Okay. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Ways to foster curiosity and ask questions to disrupt the status quo, okay, about how things are done. It also shared the policy and playbook were created with radical activists. Amazon Studios worked closely with Dr. Stacy Smith and Dr. Catherine Piper of USC's Annenberg Inclusive Initiative and with Brenda Robinson of the International Documentary Association and Game Changer Films on the creation of the policy and playbook. The studio also consulted with leading organizations devoted to advancing the visibility and responsible depictions of underrepresented or marginalized people, including GLAAD, Illuminative, Think Tank for Inclusion and Equity, blah, 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 and the Disabled Rights Education and Defense Fund. That's fantastic. An expose done by Film Threat's Chris Gore, Get Well Chris, highlight Amazon's inclusion policy and playbook's website, customer and content diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. The cited policy states, we work to consistently delight all segments of our audience. We aim to do this in 2 ways. First, by seeking out stories that amplify the voices of characters across race, ethnicity, and... Jesus Christ. Okay. Second, by bringing these often underrepresented or misrepresented characters to life in an inclusive production environment. It's the same language over and over again. They're just saying the same thing over and over again. We never, ever, 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 ever get anyone who tells us how this is making things better. We never get any information like data, like facts, like examples, real world examples of how this is all making the world a better place. They just repeat this shit over and over and over and over again. And it's getting to the point where, like, I understand we need to keep pointing it out. I understand we talk about it because we need to point it out where it's at, right? And say, hey, this is bullshit. You guys are screwing up again. Why are you doing this again? But it's getting old, right? Because they just do the same thing over and over again. And I'm pretty sure you're probably all sick of hearing about it. And I'm at the point where a lot of times I'm sick of talking about it. I really am. Because it's the same crap. I mean, all of the quotes they have from these people have all been, for all the quotes from these people and these documents and everything, have practically been verbatim the same thing. And that's not that Park Place's fault. It's just the people at Amazon, the people who push this shit, that it is just the biggest echo chamber. Like, I don't think we realize how much of an echo chamber it is. I don't think we realize how bad it is. This is all any of these people hear and talk about all day long. They're paid to do it, right? A lot of them are paid very handsomely to do it. So it's all they think about all day long, that eventually, I'm sure, it forms some kind of psychosis where it solidifies so much in their brains that if it's ever challenged, it causes extreme cognitive dissonance, and they break down and they freak out. They get triggered and they lash out, right? So that's why they don't engage in any other discourse, because if they do, they'll freak out. I mean, quite literally, they'll freak out. They cannot take any other discussion. They cannot take people questioning what they do. So they put themselves in this echo chamber, repeat the same mantra over and over and over again, right? Like a religion, right? It's like they're a kind of woke monk where they all just sit in their rooms at their universities and they repeat the same mantra over and over and over and over and over again, until it's the only thing that they believe. Some of them at the top, some of the people who push this, the teachers, the leaders, and whatnot, some of them, they understand that it's bullshit, right? They're just using it as a grift. A lot of them do. Maybe not a lot of them, but some of them. Some of the ones at the top. Maybe like 5% of them, you know? They know it's a grift. Like, who is it? Ibram X. Kendi or Kendi, I think it is. People like him. And people like Jennifer Salke and whatnot. They understand that this is bullshit. But they're getting paid a lot of money to say that it's not. I mean, seriously, it's the same thing over and over again. As for the playbook, one section labeled script-based descriptions and stereotypes questions providing descriptions of characters. Is there a reason to specify a character's gender, race, ethnicity, LGBTQ plus identity, or disability in the script? Does source material specify a character's identity in any way? Are you deviating from that depiction? Why or why not? Furthermore, it asks, are there places where you should specify information about the character's background or identity, and then it goes into all that crap again, to help with casting. Consider sharing this information only if it's needed for the story. So, what are you going to do with characterization? How are you going to show... So you're not even allowed to describe differences in people? Then how do you get different people on screen? So are you able to talk about their gender and their race and their sexuality and everything when you're actually writing them, storyboarding them, and coming up with the different characters and their personalities and their backgrounds and their depth? Are you able to talk about that or not? Because if you're not, then what's the fucking point? What are you going to write? How are you going to write? Because it's not going to be people thinking, right? It's just going to be people saying stuff. When a character says something, when they do something, it should fall in line with who they are, right? The kind of character that you want to express to people. How does their background affect the things that they say? How does their background and their life experience affect how they treat other people, how they react in certain situations? Does it add up, right? Like it's like someone who's been abused, right? If you have a character who has a history of being abused, they're probably going to recoil in a lot of situations, show fear in certain situations. They're probably going to not act the same way as other people because of their life experience. They're going to talk differently. They're going to talk a certain way, act a certain way, treat people a certain way. I'll use an example of addiction, right? If you have someone who's got a history of alcoholism, are you able to talk about that? If you have a history of someone who has a history of addiction, are you able to describe that and talk about that and where they came from and why and how it affected them? So maybe you can, but you just can't describe if they're gay or if they're straight or they're black or they're white or they're man or they're woman. So you've hamstrung creativity. You're not allowed to be open and creative about it, but only if it's needed for the story. What? Another section labeled stereotypes and humor questions ask the fundamental question: are you the right person to tell this story and/or these jokes? Begin by thinking, if you're going to restrict people to tell jokes based on who they are, then no one can tell jokes. Isn't that the point of a joke? Is you're making fun of other people? You're being satirical about another situation. They don't understand that because they're humorless dicks. Ask the fundamental question: are you the right person to tell this story and/or these jokes? Begin by thinking about whether, as the storyteller, your humor comes from outside or inside the group at the center of the comedy. Out-group members using humor to mock or joke about the characters from underrepresented groups can be highly problematic, unless you're talking about white people. It continues, humor may reflect insensitivity, play to broad stereotypes, and reinforce historical tropes for members of underrepresented groups. Creators might try to challenge or spotlight stereotypes that have been oppressive. In other words, the comedy stems from good intentions. Oh, boy. But content lacks authenticity when it doesn't come from or take into account the perspective of the in-group members at the core of the stereotype or context. No. It lacks authenticity when you don't have any characters, any characterization, when you have no depth, right? Because depth, when you're able to creatively write a character, we're able to connect with the character. It feels real. It feels authentic. And if you have, a smart-ass character who then can't make fun of a certain group of people because the color of their skin, well, that doesn't feel very authentic, right? If you have a comedian in your show, right, you're making whatever. You have a comedian in a scene, and he's making fun of everyone in the audience, and then he gets to, maybe a table of black people, and he's like, oh, sorry, I'll move on. Or it's like, oh, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you for being here. That's not authentic. That's not real. Oh my God. Look at this. This is madness. You know what? I don't want to get into this right now. I've got a few other things that I wanted to touch on. This is just, I'm like so sick and tired of talking about all this shit. I really am. I understand it needs to be discussed. But basically, my God, dude. This is so bad. Yeah, and the comment on there is, it's clear Jennifer Salke is already interfering in the upcoming Warhammer show. Yeah. It's done. It's cooked. It's cooked. Amazon killed their own show. Again. Okay. So speaking of this, and we were talking about the stock, the Games Workshop CFO sells 2/3 of her shares amid the growing Warhammer boycott. This is April 23rd, and this is also on That Park Place. So we're going to get into a little bit of a stretch here of rats jumping ship, right? This is where we got the entertainment. Entertainment is dying. DEI killed it, and the rats are jumping ship. So Games Workshop CFO sells 2/3 of her shares amid the growing Warhammer boycott. Rachel Tung, her last name's Tung, okie dokie, the chief financial officer of Games Workshop, sold 2/3 of her stake in the company worth approximately $865,000 as hobbyists have begun canceling their Warhammer Plus subscriptions and have indicated they will boycott the company. The subscription cancellations and call to boycott come after the company retconned their Adeptus Custodes army by adding in a female Adeptus Custodes in its upcoming Codex Adeptus Custodes, and we've gone over this quite a bit. And yeah, we'll skip over that. And here's another excerpt. We'll skip over that. We've already been through that. The official Warhammer social media account not only confirmed the expert. Okay, we went over that too. Okay, this is where the new stuff comes in. Previous lore, as shared by former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, makes it clear that the Adeptus Custodes were an all-male organization. An excerpt from the Rogue Trader rules in 1987. Okay, so basically, they're going into describing what we've already described, that Warhammer is being changed for DEI. And Mark Kern, who is Grums on Twitter, is giving quite a few examples of the real lore and why this particular group of soldiers and warriors in Warhammer has always been men. Okay? So let's get, where are we going to... Here we go. Here's the new stuff. Since this retcon and subsequent gaslighting, numerous Warhammer players, hobbyists, and enthusiasts have announced they have canceled their Warhammer Plus subscriptions and will boycott Games Workshop going forward. Amid this controversy and boycott, the business desk reports that Tung reduced her stake in the Nottingham-based company by 2/3 after the share sale at an average price of £94.893. I don't know. What are the coins? What is the coinage over in Great Britain land? I don't know. Not only does Tung's sale come amid a boycott, but it comes months after it was revealed in the company's half-year report that she had resigned from the company. Games Workshop CEO Kevin Roundtree shared in the company's 2023-24 half-yearly report in January. Also, after 27 years with the group and 9 years on the board, Rachel Tung has informed the board that she does not propose to offer herself for re-election as CFO at the next AGM in September of 24. Rachel will continue in her role, working as an integral part of my team to ensure a smooth transfer of responsibilities to her successor. Rachel is amazing, and she will be missed enormously. Enormously was a funny choice of words there, wasn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Roundtree added, Rachel will step down from the board at the 2024 AGM and will leave the group in January of 2025. We will be commencing as shirts for her successor immediately. I bet BlackRock and Vanguard have a lot to say about that. I betcha. Games Workshop stock price has declined nearly 5% since the beginning of the year. However, it's up nearly 142.81% over the last 5 years. Since 2007, the stock price has increased nearly 2,000%. That's pretty damn good. What do you make of Tung sharing 2/3 of her shares, selling 2/3 of her shares in the midst of this Warhammer controversy, and just months after her resignation was announced? Think she knows something's coming? Think she sees it, right? She sees what's happening. She seems like maybe one of the smart ones where she's like, oh shit, yeah, this DEI shit is, everything is collapsing because of this. It's a poison. It's toxic. And I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. But it's not just there, right? Speaking of this DEI stuff, so we'll get to more of the rats jumping ship. Actually, let me see what we want to do here. So, not only Games Workshop, but Wizards of the Coast president Cynthia Williams has stepped down. Hasbro's Digital Gaming and Wizards of the Coast CEO Cynthia Williams has resigned from her position, leaving the company next week. Now, this one, I don't know. This one may be more of because of some of the performance issues. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro Gaming president Cynthia Williams has resigned from her position at the company. As revealed by a United States Security and Exchange Commission filing, she informed Hasbro of her resignation on April 15th, 24, and will leave the role on April 26th in 2 days. The Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons publisher has currently made no statement about Williams' departure or her reasons for leaving. The filing simply states that Hasbro is conducting a process to identify her successor, looking at both internal and external candidates. Cynthia Williams joined Hasbro in February of 22, taking over from Chris Cox, who became the Hasbro CEO. Previously, Williams worked as general manager and VP on the gaming ecosystem commercial team at Microsoft, and before this, she worked for Amazon. During the 2 and a bit years Williams has served as the Wizards president, the major change is likely the ramping up of the MTG Universes Beyond Magic the Gathering crossover releases with the other popular IPs, which have proved a smashing success for the company, with Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings in particular deemed its best-selling ever. Other wins for Wizards were in the digital realm. For instance, 2023 saw the release of the most prestigious D&D game ever. Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year and sold 10 million copies. Last year also saw the launch of Monopoly Go, currently the best mobile game in terms of download numbers. But these years have also seen their fair share of controversy. In 2022, the ire of Magic players was raised by the release of the 30th Anniversary Edition, a commemorative collection of non-legal cards that cost $1,000. But the uproar around that pales in comparison with the furor that hit Wizards early last year when it tried to make changes to the D&D OGL. On that occasion, the upheaval of the tabletop RPG community was so great that Wizards ultimately walked back its decision entirely. Overall, it seemed to be a very good month for Pathfinder. So, there's a lot of upheaval. And remember, Larian Studios, who made Baldur's Gate 3, they walked away from Wizards of the Coast. They said, no, we don't want to do another Baldur's Gate game. It's like, we're not going to do a DLC, and we're not going to do another Baldur's Gate game. And I think they could see the writing on the wall as well. Now, is there a little bit of DEI going on over at Larian Studios? Yeah. But they don't talk about it, and it doesn't seem like they want to force it on people. It seems like they're willing to include it a little bit, but it doesn't seem like they really want to force it on people, right? They don't talk about it like it's the most important thing ever. They don't talk about it at all. And I think that they could see the writing on the wall from Wizards of the Coast as well. I think they could see, oh shit, they're going to start pushing this all over us. They're trying to push this onto our Baldur. They want to change the very nature of how we conduct business. And we can't have that because we just made one of the most successful games, maybe of all time. And now they want to change us. Now they want to change. And I bet you, I mean, we just saw them with Amazon, right? We saw with Amazon that they want to change the makeup of the employees. It doesn't matter if the employees at, say, like Larian, it doesn't matter if they were successful. It doesn't matter if they're good. It doesn't matter if they were some of the most valuable people who worked on Baldur's Gate 3. If they're not diverse, they've got to go. You had better believe that's being forced on them. And Larian Studios, Sven Vinke, or whatever his name is, the CEO and owner of Larian, I bet he could see the writing on the wall. And he said, no, I'm not willing to do that to my people. I'm not going to take your money. I'm not going to sign your contract. And now the rats are jumping ship. Where do I want to go next? So I had something up here from Ubisoft. And this is part of the DEI, but this is an internal memo, it appears, that's been spread by Ubisoft. And I just wanted to bring this up because they're talking more about the DEI crap. And I think it highlights just their attitude, right? Their attitude over all this crap. So this is apparently an internal memo, DEI memo from Ubisoft. First, we want to make it very clear that we do not accept hate, harassment, and other forms of abuse in any way. And we are deeply saddened to see the negativity and hatred currently spreading on our coworkers' personal profiles and on our partners' social media platforms. I think that was poorly worded, and I would like to see proof. You notice they always say this crap, but they never show you any proof. I'm sure there are one or two out there, because there are pieces of shit out there who will say heinous things. But I bet that's seriously like less than 1% of all people out there talking, doing anything. We are proud to represent the diversity and inclusion that exists in society and is part of our everyday work. Representation is part of our DNA and will remain that way regardless of external pressure or influences. If you are exposed to or witness any negative behaviors towards your colleagues online, do not hesitate to reach out to your manager, Arcade HR, or the communications team. We are here to help. Should a situation escalate to a point where you feel unsafe, please contact the Ubisoft Security and Risk Management team at ubisoft.com. So do you think the security and management team, right? There's probably some dude sitting in there who's got like 20 years of security. This guy was probably in the Marines. You know, he went and he served, and then he got some technical training, and he probably went to like a bank and served as their security officer, their chief security officer and whatnot. And then he probably got a good offer from Ubisoft, and he said, oh, I'm going to help these guys stay safe. I'm going to help maintain the actual studio itself, the building. I'll keep that secure. I'll hire the greatest cybersecurity people, and we'll make this the safest environment possible. And he starts getting all of these complaints about like bad, naughty words and people's feelings getting hurt. Right? Probably like some 48-year-old, 50-year-old dude who's seen some shit and knows some things and wouldn't recommend any of it. And now he sees all of these millennials and Zoomers and shit crying and whining. Fuck. SRM has a team of dedicated staff to manage security concerns. They will assess the severity of the situation and provide personalized guidance. As always, report immediate and severe personal safety concerns to your local emergency number. Given the current polarization of this topic online, we believe that having a respectful and constructive dialogue is difficult, if not impossible, to achieve. In this context, we ask you not to engage in or interact with these conversations, as this could worsen the situation for yourself, our teams, and our industry peers. You can also set your accounts to private and or turn off private messages from people who are not in your list of trusted friends. Do this across all social accounts, even if you are only receiving unwelcome messages on certain platforms. Ubisoft firmly stands for diversity and inclusion in our workplace and our games, and we believe there's no room for hate in gaming. So basically, they don't want... They can't have honest discussions, right? They can't do it because an honest discussion would tear down their entire worldview. And it's interesting that they don't want people... They probably don't want them engaging with anyone outside the company because their employees are racist. Like this person, Shauna Jones, who just seems to just hate white people. Now, I think, from what I can gather, she was a Ubisoft community manager. And there's quite a plethora of racist comments here. So this is shameful behavior, proof that we can't make the games industry a safe and inclusive place when the higher-ups don't understand the importance of diversity and are all middle-aged white guys. Why does it matter? Ninja is boasting about his white privilege by doing this. White privilege. Gamer boys, white men, all white male, white dude, white male. I've never received one "everyone loves me." That's probably because you're a white male. This is what she said. I'm enjoying playing Days Gone, but at the same time, the lack of diversity really upsets me. Response to her was, I know what you mean. It's a real love-hate story. And then she says, like, even the camps are full of white people. Here's one. Yay, diversity, finally. No more middle-aged white men. Ooh, that looks painful, you cracker. Be safe. Maybe that's why they don't want their employees talking online. Because they're racist. So I wanted to point that. But let's get back to some of the rats jumping ship. What time is it? 7:25? Let me see what else I want to talk about here. Won't be able to go for too much longer. Maybe we can. I don't know. Hold on a second. Excuse me. So more rats jumping ship, right? Here's David Mamet. David Mamet calls Hollywood's DEI initiatives garbage and says his kids are not Nepo babies. They earned it by merit. So, and I say they're jumping ship because they're starting to call all of this shit out, right? And before they never would have because they wanted to be part of the club. But a lot of them are starting to see the writing on the wall. David Mamet is against the initiatives in Hollywood to create diversity, equity, and inclusion, referred to as DEI. I'm sorry, this is Deadline by Armando Tinoco, April 22nd. DEI is garbage, the author said at the Los Angeles Times Festival of Books. As the LA Times reported, it's fascist totalitarianism. Boy, I wonder how those LA freaks responded to that. Mamet has a particular gripe about the inclusion rules that the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences has implemented for films to be considered in the Oscar Best Picture category. I can't give you a stupid fucking statue unless you have 7% of this, 8% of that. It's intrusive, Mamet said. He also said the film industry has little business improving everybody's racial understanding, as does the fire department. I like this guy. Regarding nepotism in Hollywood, Mamet doesn't think his kids have benefited from his accomplishments in the industry and rather says they learned from being on set, earning them a spot. They earned it by merit, Mamet said about his daughter Zozia Mamet, who starred in HBO's Girls and most recently in Marvel and Sony's Madam Web. Wait, who is she? Which one is she in Madam Web? I don't know. I'll look it up later. Screw it. They haven't benefited from any type of privilege. They probably have, David. He continued, nobody ever gave my kids a job because of who they were related to. Mamet's latest book is titled Everywhere and Oink Oink, an embittered, dyspeptic, and accurate report of 40 years in Hollywood. In the playwright's memoir, he describes a world gone by, some of our most beloved film stars with their hair down, and how it all got washed away by digital media and the woke brigade. Really? Everywhere. That sounds interesting. I might have to read that. That sounds interesting. I'm going to save that. So David Mamet hates it. Getting out. Who else? Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, my. Jerry Seinfeld says the movie business is over. This, too, is April 22nd. This is over on Variety. This is by Zach Sharf. Jerry Seinfeld says the movie business is over and film doesn't occupy the pinnacle in the cultural hierarchy anymore. Disorientation replaced it. Let's see. Jerry Seinfeld is finally a movie director with the upcoming premiere of his feature debut, Unfrosted. Backed by Netflix, the star-studded comedy is a fictional account of the creation of Pop-Tarts toaster pastries, really. In a new interview with GQ magazine, Seinfeld reflected on his experience jumping into movie making for the first time so late in his career. It was totally new to me. I thought I had done some cool stuff, but it was nothing like the way these people work, Seinfeld said. They're so dead serious. They don't have any idea that the movie business is over. They have no idea. Asked to elaborate on a more serious note, Seinfeld continued, film doesn't occupy the pinnacle in the social, cultural hierarchy that it did for most of our lives. When a movie came out, if it was good, we all went to see it. We all discussed it. We quoted lines and scenes we liked. Now we're walking through a fire hose of water just trying to see. So what, if anything, has replaced film? Depression? Malaise? I would say confusion. Disorientation replaced the movie business, he answered. Everyone I know in show business every day is going, what's going on? How do you do this? What are we supposed to do now? I've done enough stuff that I have my own thing, which is more valuable than it's ever been. Seinfeld noted about his career outside the more confused film industry. Stand-up is like you're a cabinet maker, and everybody needs a guy who's good with wood. There's trees everywhere, but to make a nice table, it's not so easy. So the metaphor is that you have good craft and craftsmanship. You're kind of impervious to the whims of the industry. That's just like a good message for life, right? Get yourself a good skill that people will always need. You know, like people will not always need this. And I don't even know if I'd call this a skill. I'm just some jackass in his spare bedroom with an internet connection. But like a cabinet maker, a woodworker, people are always going to need woodworkers, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. mechanics. Do that. Go do that stuff. If I could have done something different, I would have been a carpenter. Maybe I still can be. We'll see what happens. Audiences are now flocking to stand-up because it's something you can't fake, he added. It's like platform diving. You could say you're a platform diver, but in 2 seconds we can see if you are or you are not. That's what people like about stand-up. They can trust it. Everything else is fake, authentic, right? Real. That's what people want. People want something that's real. And all of this shit feels so fake because it's all forced. We've been talking about it this whole show. It's all forced, right? They are literally forcing certain people into certain things just so they can get their ESG money. And yes, I know I'm sick of talking about it too, but that's the reason. That's it. That's why they're doing it. What the hell happened? Sorry. People want something that's real. If you allow people with actual talent to be creative and to be open and to write depth and to write the characters they want and create the world that they want, and don't just get out of their way and let it happen, and you can create depth of character where people can become invested in the actual character and become invested in the actual world, right? It draws you in. It engulfs you in the world, in the story and the journey of the character. That feels real. That's the magic of a movie, right? Of a good to great movie. You go in and it draws you in, and it's an incredible feeling, right? When they build that world, that's why we go to the movies. Because it's something almost ethereal and otherworldly that feels real, even just for like 90 minutes, right? And it amazes us. Like, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. I went, and that came out when I was 9 years old. And I went and I saw that in the theaters. I don't know how I convinced my parents to take me. I saw that movie in the theaters 6 times while it was out. And I remember just sitting there, staring up at the screen and thinking, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's still one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Because it felt, when you looked at that screen for the first time, you went, oh my God, they have dinosaurs. Now, the Brachiosaur doesn't look as good today as it did, some years ago. 30 years ago. Oh my God. I am old. But the T-Rex does. The T-Rex looks fucking great. But the first time you saw it, you went, they have dinosaurs. So you got drawn in. You were invested in the story. It almost felt real. Almost. And that's part of what makes it so great. When you start forcing it, right? Think about if they would have had Jurassic Park and they said, well, no, half the characters have to be gay and some of the characters have to be trans and some of the characters have to be this and some of the characters have to be that, and the dinosaurs, because now they're starting to do crazy shit like tell us. I did a report, I reported on a story maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago where there is a museum in England that's trying to tell us that dinosaurs were gay. They would make the dinosaurs gay in Jurassic Park. I'm not fucking around with this. They would. They would. And then how do you think it would have gone? Do you think it would have been nearly as good, half as good? Absolutely not. It's the magic of movies. And they have destroyed it. Seinfeld recently popped up in the series finale of Larry's... Oh, they had a series finale. I didn't know it ended. Of Larry David's HBO series Curb Your Enthusiasm. The two men co-created the iconic sitcom Seinfeld, and they reunited in the Curb Your Enthusiasm finale to riff on the controversial ending in their beloved sitcom, which saw its main characters wind up in jail. A lot of people have given Seinfeld flack over the years for the end of Seinfeld, and he admitted to GQ the finale had bothered him a little bit all these years. We'll just finish it off. I don't believe in regret, Seinfeld said. It's arrogant to think you could have done something different. You couldn't. That's why you did what you did. But me and Jeff Schaffer and Larry were standing around talking about TV finales and which we thought were great. I feel Mad Men was the greatest. A lot of people like Bob Newhart. Yeah. Mary Tyler Moore was okay. Mad Men was the greatest final moment of a series I've ever seen. So satisfying. So funny. And they said that they had sat and watched the Seinfeld finale, trying to figure out what went wrong. And it was obviously about the final scene, leaving them in the jail cell. Okay. All right. So Jerry Seinfeld's jumping ship. Who else is jumping ship? Johnny Depp. Well, Johnny Depp's got a bit of a reason to jump ship. You know, Johnny Depp went through some bullshit. But this is Fandom Pulse, April 23rd, by Serena Strauss. So Johnny Depp slams Hollywood studios and Disney while plotting his acting comeback. The controversial yet acclaimed actor Johnny Depp has recently shared some harsh criticism regarding mainstream Hollywood films, specifically calling out studio executives as being glorified accountants who prioritize budgets over creativity. This comes as Depp aims to rebuild his acting career after a tumultuous few years involving legal battles with ex-wife and bitch Amber Heard and being blacklisted by Hollywood. Depp, the iconic star of numerous blockbuster hits, including the Walt Disney Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer films' smash success Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, has always been known for taking on quirky, avant-garde acting roles in smaller, director-driven films, as opposed to just cashing in on major studio projects. Depp's comments show his frustration with the Hollywood studio system and how creativity often takes a backseat to the bottom line, yet the lingering reputational damage from the civil lawsuits continues overshadowing his storied acting gifts. So we have a theme, right? We have a theme with all of these people who have an incredible amount of experience in the entertainment industry, right? Johnny Depp, Jerry Seinfeld, David Mamet, people who have spent decades in Hollywood. And they're all saying the same thing. They're all calling it out for what it is. They're saying this is bullshit. There's no more creativity. When you hamstring the creativity, the entertainment will die. The product will suffer. Hollywood is collapsing. And they're all saying the exact same reason why. They see the writing on the walls. And these gentlemen, these three guys, they're going to be fine. These guys aren't hurting for anything. Even though Johnny Depp lost like $600 million, got kind of, quote, legally stolen from him, he still has something like $200 million in the bank. They'll be fine, but they see the writing on the wall. I mean, I guess better late than never for calling it out. You know, but they all wanted to be part of the club. At one point they did. I mean, they don't care now, but they're all in their 50s and 60s. Fuck. The veteran A-lister explained that most people don't want to be fed dreck and would prefer to see something new and inventive when they go to the movies instead of formulaic romantic comedies and effects-driven action spectacles. I don't know if I necessarily... People just want some good creativity. There's nothing wrong with a rom-com if it's done well. There's nothing wrong with an effects-driven action spectacle if it's done well. As long as you're prioritizing the romance and the comedy over the message, and you're prioritizing the action spectacle of it all over the message, you'll be fine. It's not that people... This is like the argument for superhero fatigue, right? There probably wouldn't be nearly as much superhero fatigue if the movies were well made. They used to be. What happened? We would probably all still be going to the theaters every opening weekend of the MCU if they still had the quality of, say, Phase 2. Right? If they were making movies like Winter Soldier and Infinity War and Iron Man, we'd probably still be going. But they're not, so we don't. By and large, for the majority of the years I've been wandering around aimlessly talking to people. That sounds like a very Johnny Depp thing to do, and you wouldn't be surprised if you saw just a high as a kite Johnny Depp just bumping into people walking down the strip. Yeah, man. Real cool. Yeah, man. By and large, for the majority of the years I've been wandering around aimlessly talking to people. They really want the same thing, Depp says. They don't want to be fed dreck. They're happy when they experience something new or different. Yeah, man, real cool. Mr. Rottenborn. For Depp's own career, there was talk he could potentially return to the Disney Bruckheimer juggernaut Pirates of the Caribbean series as the beloved Captain Jack Sparrow. He won't go back. And remember, we're gonna move on a little bit because I'm gonna have to cut it short here in a second. Remember, they're gonna reboot it, and it's going to be a diverse woman. So far, that's the story. Who else is jumping ship? Oh, Bill Maher. Oh, God. Look, out of all the people who are jumping ship that we've talked about thus far, this is the biggest retard. Okay? Every once in a while, he says something that's kind of right. And then he turns around and says, no, Gavin Newsom would make a great president because he could win an election. Thank you. So Bill Maher says Quiet on the Set made Nickelodeon look like Neverland Ranch with craft services. This is the Hollywood Reporter, by the way, by Carly Thomas. This was back on April 19th. I think I had this written down to report on Sunday, but I just didn't get to it. So Bill Maher says Quiet on the Set made Nickelodeon look like Neverland Ranch with craft services. Bill Maher took some time during his New Rules segment on Real Time Friday to offer his takeaways from the Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV docuseries. As one of the few people in the public eye who's gone through life and never had kids, someone's got to tell me why I'm always having to defend them, the host said. I don't even like them, but I do think it's every adult's job to protect them. His initial reaction to Investigation Discovery's 5-part docuseries, which details allegations of abuse, sexism, racism, and inappropriate behavior involving underage actors on Nickelodeon TV show sets, was OMG. Nickelodeon, it wasn't a studio. It was Neverland Ranch with craft services, he shared of his portrayal of the network after watching the series. It is just scene after scene and clip after clip of the child stars of their day being subjected to obviously inappropriate, highly sexualized degradation. I was grossed out, and I've gone camping with John Waters. Maher proceeded to note that Quiet on the Set, which he said was the talk of the town in Los Angeles, not only exposed a dangerous workplace, but also hypocrisy. As an example, he claimed that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was dismissed when he said the same things regarding Disney's actions. Yep. Why would a kids' content factory like Disney be all that different than the one at Nickelodeon? Maher asked before referencing a Willie Sutton quote about robbing banks because that's where the money is. That is a great quote, by the way. If you haven't heard that, someone asked Willie Sutton's like, why did you rob a bank? And he said, because that's where the money is. That was the quote. The reason we find pedophiles in kids' TV is that's where the kids are, the host continued. DeSantis wasn't wrong. We're so tribal now. The left will support child fucking if the wrong party calls it out. Yeah. Later, Maher pointed out how Brian Peck, who was convicted of sexually assaulting a Nickelodeon child actor in 2004, which was later revealed to be Drake and Josh star Drake Bell in the docuseries, was hired by Disney to work on a children's show after serving his time in prison. The Hollywood Reporter previously reported that Peck voiced the role of a mirror on 3 episodes of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody for the Disney Channel and worked away from the show's set in a voiceover studio. Does that really fucking excuse? Hollywood Reporter? Are you kidding me? Fuck you. THR also learned that Disney fired him immediately after learning of his conviction. Are you honestly trying to tell me they didn't know? Really? Fuck you. For pedophiles in Hollywood, it's a small world after all. But okay. So, on and on. So, Maher is... And now, the rats are jumping ship. Now, I will say this. Maher has, like I said, Bill Maher has called out some shit before. He's just... I don't know. When it comes to some shit, he gets triggered real easy. Okay, so... let's do a few things real quick. We're gonna have to cut it out here, but I wanted to. Let me see what I want to do. I got a few things on the list here. Let's go into this because this is Mimology 101, and colleges in the United States of America are now offering classes to learn about Taylor Swift. I mean, I know you're not like super duper shocked, but it's super duper stupid. So let's watch. This is memology.
All the marketing strategies in the world will only work if you have a good product to market.
You might not expect a business school course to begin like this.
Oh my God.
But at UC Berkeley, Taylor Swift is not just a tortured poet. She's a case study in
Look
how
at
to
it.
build an empire.
Nothing about Taylor Swift is an accident.
Sophia Lendahl and Miad Bashal
Wait,
are student teachers.
We know that. Of course it's not an accident. She's a product. She is completely manufactured. She's fake. You worship her. This is fucking wild.
Of a course called Artistry and Entrepreneurship, Taylor's version.
It's just like everything from her music. Each era is kind of like its own brand.
Today's focus, Swift's literary devices and her song as the product.
I think that Taylor is so strategic in all the things that she does, and that's why I'm so interested in the course, kind of like unraveling how she's been able to be such a relevant figure for so long.
Berkeley is hardly alone. Universities nationwide are teaching the Swift effect in departments from English to political science to gender studies.
What do you think the proliferation of Taylor Swift courses at universities and colleges say about your generation?
People are becoming more and more interested in people who do bigger things in the world and people who give back.
Are you telling me that the citizens, that the populace are just now becoming interested in successful people? I can't fucking take this. This is the year zero mentality. These people think that nothing before the year they were born occurred. Nothing at all. Nothing of importance. These kids, these young adults who are supposed to go forward into society and take us into the next generation somehow, they think nothing like this has ever been done before. Nothing like this has ever been studied before. They think this is the most incredible thing ever. They worship this product. She's a product. She's a manufactured product. It is marketing, and it's all marketing over and over and over and over again. What are you talking about? Seriously, you want to listen to that again?
Generation.
People are becoming more and more interested in people who do bigger things in the world and people who give back.
It seems signing up
So people have just now started becoming interested in successful, popular people and people who give. What the fuck?
for these classes can be harder than scoring tickets to see Swift herself. So we had to ask, with all that tuition money on the line.
Yeah.
What did your family think when you said, I'm taking a Berkeley course on Taylor Swift?
Everyone was super supportive and they loved it. They were like, you have to take this class.
My mom actually is the one who sent me a link. She was just like,
Your
well,
mom.
If, you know, it's been a...
UC Berkeley. What do you think the tuition is at UC Berkeley? Like $50,000, $60,000 a year?
approved by the university, I'm sure it'll be worthwhile.
My parents were thrilled. They've both wanted to learn more about her ever since I started showing an interest in her.
Yeah,
and they're taking a page from Swift's playbook for their own futures.
Now see this part right here? This is the same generation that's demanding all of their student loan debt be forgiven. For a person who, for some reason, is dancing like this, like, what the fuck is this? What am I looking at? What am I looking at? These are the people who want student loan forgiveness. They want billions of dollars of student loans forgiven so they can study Taylor Swift. Oh, so they can study Taylor Swift and shout, "We are Hamas and death to America." $100,000 a year tuition to study Taylor Swift, shout "death to America," shout "We are Hamas," and then, I don't know, get it all forgiven on a taxpayer dime. Go fuck yourselves. Every single one of you. Go fuck yourselves. Okay, we'll finish this off with Alec Baldwin.
Alec, can you please say Free Palestine one time? Why did you kill that lady? You killed that lady and got no jail time? No jail time, Alec? No jail time, Alec. You're putting innocent people in jail, Alec Baldwin.
What?
Free Palestine, Alec, just one time, and I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone, I swear. Just say Free Palestine.
This woman, this is the kind of woman that's demanding student loan forgiveness. These are the kind of people demanding student loan forgiveness.
One time. One time. One time. One time, Alec. You know he's a criminal. You know he's a fucking criminal. Come on, Alec. Just say Free Palestine one time. One time. Just one time. Please. And I'll leave you alone. Free Palestine. Fuck Israel. Fuck Zionism. Please say it.
Please say it.
One time. Alec, can you please say Free
Okay, let's get right here. So Alec Baldwin did it again. Now, first of all, a few things. Alec Baldwin probably shouldn't be roaming the streets. He should be in prison. Two, I actually support him smacking this camera. So, whatever. Screw this bitch. And screw Alec Baldwin. Screw them both. They're both crazy fucks. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. I got to get out of here. I got to go to my 9 to 5. But thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I appreciate it. If you like what you heard, please hit the like, share, subscribe. The Civil War review is out, and it's pissing some people off, so go check that out. And, I don't know, hate it or like it or whatever. I would just appreciate the view. And I'm working on the Rebel Moon 2 review now, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, is that going to be a doozy. My goodness gracious. So I appreciate all the support, the views, and everything. I really do. I'm extremely grateful for it. And I hope you have a great Wednesday. And I may not have a Friday morning show just so I can get to work more time on the Rebel Moon 2. But I don't know. We'll keep it posted. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.